Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. We're sitting here in our new studio, the new Spitfire, in front of our lovely Audient console, and we are back for another frequently asked questions. Yes, that's another FAQ Friday.
Does converter quality matter nowadays?
That's such a huge question. I've had this discussion with pretty much every interface company on the planet. We've got to be friends and talk to everybody, you name it. Apogee, Antelope, Audient, all the A's, Steinberg, RME, everybody. Everybody will say the same thing. The chips now are available at a price that pretty much anybody can get to. There was a point back in ye olden days where the chip, maybe the olden days of like 20 years ago, 15 years ago even, where the chips were very, very expensive for the high level ones. The price has dropped. They're making gazillions of the things now. So everybody has access to really high quality conversion chips. I don't know what the technical name is. Maybe you do. But that part of it is now no longer unbelievably expensive. So it's the architecture around them. If they're using cheap components around them, that can affect the sound quite dramatically. My gut is if you start off around about the $200 to $300 price range, between that and a couple of thousand, there really isn't any perceptible difference. It's so good now. As you know, we use a lot of Audient. I'm also looking at a Zengo down there that we use. We have the Evo range, the ID range, but we also have Steinberg that we use all the time. And we've been testing the Apogee Duet. So the Apogee Duet, the Neumann MT48, all of these units now are sounding phenomenal. So you really need to be looking at feature set. How many inputs do you need? What do you need it for? Is it just for you sitting at home with your laptop, or when you're traveling, or is it in a proper studio where you need like 8 or 16 or 24 inputs and you've got to record full live bands? Those are the bigger things to think about these days. The playing field has really, really leveled. There are massive, massive advantages in spending money on stuff for the feature set you need. But if you don't need all of these, singing and dancing plugins and stuff built in, if you don't need any of that stuff, why the heck would you buy one of those things? If you literally just need 1 or 2 inputs, then there are affordable devices out there that you can get that will do it. So yes, things are a lot better. From that sort of $200 to $300 and up, the choice is massive. Now, on the very, very cheap side, I need to test out some of the Behringer stuff. We need to really hear what that's like. There could be other things in there. The converters might be really good, but they could also be noisier because they're using cheaper components. These are sometimes the differences. Quiet, doesn't distort, has better headroom, better mic pre's built into it. We all love the ID series of Audient mic pre's because they are the same mic pre's they use in their consoles. However, there's also good mic pre's in tons of other stuff. The Apogee ones, of course, are phenomenal. The Antelope ones are great. The Steinberg. The point is like there's a lot of choice out there. Now it's really, once again, I'll say it again, about the feature set. How many inputs do you need? Is there extra things? Multiple headphone outputs for different mixes? These are the things you need to be looking at. Look at the features you need, narrow that down, then start separating them based on reviews and reliability and all that kind of stuff. But at least decide what you need as a set of features, then choose from there.
Are there any tricks to improving my guitar DI sound?
I mean, a good quality DI is a good quality DI. We use a very expensive DI for guitars. We use the Rupert Neve one. It's just called the RNDI, and I can see it over there. We also have the Radial HDI. We also have the Acme one, which we use on bass, which has a massive transformer in it. We had a BAE one, the Valgaray one. They're all really good, and they tend to add a little bit of extra weight to them when they have transformers built in there, meaning they tend to be a little thicker, not quite so thin. So yes, that can really help. I also know when I was working with Brian Karlstrom years ago, God rest his soul, he actually used a Summit Audio mic pre, went in the front, like a DI'd into the front, and compressed it and printed a clean, compressed DI signal and then amped from it there. And it sounded pretty darn phenomenal. That's not something I see that many people doing, but yes, you can do all kinds of things. So It really comes down to one thing and one thing only. Do you have a budget to spend $200 to $300 on a DI or more? If you're running an interface that costs only $200 or $300, most of them sound pretty good now. They have these inputs called JFET. And if they have a JFET, it is balanced for the impedance of a guitar, and you can plug the guitar in the front. Again, going back to our last question, it's that feature set. If you see an interface with that feature on the front, then it's going to be great for you as a guitar player wanting to get a high quality DI signal.
How do I measure my room? Should I use Sonarworks or Freeware stuff like Room EQ Wizard?
That's a great question. I suppose the answer is, what's your budget? If you don't have any money to spend, then of course Room EQ Wizard is pretty darn good. We've done videos. In fact, Eric, can you put a link down below? We did one actually using Room EQ Wizard, which was rather wonderful. And of course, we've done several videos using Sonarworks, or Sound ID, I believe, as it is known now. Both are fantastic. Obviously, Sound ID, you do get a microphone that comes with it when you purchase it, which you can guarantee will work really, really well with it. If you're going to use a free system like Room EQ Wizard, make sure you have a very, or at least the best quality microphone you can get, preferably a condenser, preferably pretty darn flat. But of course, Sonarworks' Sound ID offers not only the ability to EQ your room, but a lot of extra features that make it worth the money. And also isn't that expensive considering just what miracles it's going to perform in your room.
How can I record drums with 4 mics, or even 2?
I've done so many videos doing this. In fact, often when I'm being sent different mics to try out, I'll record a drum kit with 1 mic, and I'll do that above the floor tom pointing towards the kick and snare. And that for me gives me a really, really good mono drum sound. I've also done it in front. I've also done it on top, but I find that one is one of the best ways of getting it. And the reason why I found that out was because I was doing a 3 mic Glenn Johns thing where I had 1 in front, 1 over the floor tom and ride cymbal, and 1 over the snare and hi-hat. And when I soloed them individually, I found that that one gave me the most even view of a drum kit. Now, if you're going to do 2 mics, you probably would put 1 in front of the kit low down and then 1 overhead. That can work really, really well. But again, experiment, but that's probably what I would do. I'd probably put 1 in front of the kick and then 1 as a mono overhead over the full kit. Now, if it's 4, that's perfect. 4 can give you amazing results. 1 kick drum mic, 1 snare drum mic, and then a pair of overheads will get the cymbals and the toms and, you know, even some of the room in there. 4 mics on a drum kit is phenomenal when you have, well, in any situation, but particularly when you have small amounts of mics, is phenomenal when you have a very, very balanced drummer. That is the biggest secret to a drum sound, whether it be 1 mic or 100. A balanced drummer, somebody that knows how to hit the shells well, the kick, snare, tom, floor, and doesn't destroy cymbals so that they're so loud that everything else just falls apart. If you're going to work on anything, work on the drum performance, and that will give you the best drum sound. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel grow if you're subscribing. Like the video. Most importantly, leave us a comment down below for future frequently asked questions. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye.